Alrighty, it is Friday, the 21st of June, 2019. Our next segment of Richest Man in Babylon here. With this is kind of going to repeat what I've been going over, but it's the 5 laws of gold. I'm kind of going to read over these. So these are going to repeat. They're just phrased differently. The first part of this chapter actually states about overcoming adversity, more or less. So when things go haywire, they don't go your way, something sudden happens. It also talks about more or less inheritance. You know, do you merit inheriting, or do you merit the heir? Have you earned the right to do so? And it's basically stating if you haven't mastered these 5 laws of gold, then you're not more or less worthy of the inheritance. That's kind of the generic portion of this. I'm going to read these. They're going to sound a little weird because they're partly in King's English. Gold cometh gladly in increasing quantity to any man whose ever will put by not less than 1/10 of his earnings to create an estate for his future and that of his family. So again, 1/10 saving. This shows that you're not only saving for yourself, but you're taking care of those that you care about. So Jim Rohn takes this a little different. He says the 70-10-10-10 rule, which is in this book. Only his is 70% for the household, 10% for savings, 10% for passive earnings, 10% for active earnings. So that's investment. So passive would be stock market, bonds. That's something long term. Active would be something you can see profits in. Another business, someone rents something from you like a property. Those are active incomes. He says if some of us can't do the 70-10-10-10. Some of us have to do the 97-1-1-1. And if you're in that category, that's okay, as long as you're doing, it's about the process. It's not about the quantity, it's about the process. And that's what a lot of us get hung up in, including myself, is we want to follow something to a T because we think if we don't, it won't work. That's not the case. The process is what we're after. Again, back to the fundamentals. So the savings is the first law of gold. The second law of gold, gold laboreth diligently and contentedly, for the wise owner who finds for it profitable employment, multiplying even as the flocks of the field. This is all about opportunity. So if you find an opportunity to be able to make another income, capitalize on something, invest in something, or even pick up more work. A lot of us don't want to work more than 40 hours. Well, if you're capable of doing it, do it. If you're capable of working 6 days a week, work 6 days a week. If you're capable of putting in more effort, put in more effort, because not everybody can. All right, third law. Gold clingeth to the protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of men wise in its handling. This is more or less about consultation. So this is about reputation. We hear about this. Hey, I'm going to invest in this. Did you hear about blah, blah, blah? I made a bunch of money. Now, in this day and age, everything's a little different when it comes to that. We're in the day of the generic term, the hater. Everyone, if you're doing well, everyone wants you to do poorly. Everyone on the outside, it appears that way. If you look at comments or it's always easier to put something negative than something positive. So from the outside, it appears that you have a bunch of negativity. On the inside, you know that you're surrounded by the people that help you get there. So it's basically choosing your company wisely as well. Not just where you put your money, but your company wisely in order to help multiply and invest your money. Fourth one. So the last two are about ways to lose money and how not to do it. Gold slippeth away from the man who invests it in businesses or purposes which with he is not familiar, or which are not approved by those skilled in its keep. So I talked about this yesterday. This is making investments in something that appears to be a get rich. Again, in this generation, in this era. So in the 90s, 25 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, maybe 40 years ago. We'll say 1970. 1970 to about 2010, 2012. So more than 40 years. The infomercial was the big get rich, but you had to catch it at the right time. It was very easy to change it. You didn't have to, it was a gimmick. You didn't have to buy into it until you saw somebody and they're like, oh yeah, I did that. It works really, really well. So you had to search out the feedback, and it was much easier to deter. Now, that ad is everywhere. If you have any social media, it's everywhere. If you have a cell phone, it's everywhere. Robocalls, getting emails, getting, you name it. It is everywhere you are. It's always, hey, invest in this real estate. Hey, these ads will help you get rich. Hey, in 30 days, I made $1 million. Hey, whatever it is. Now, this is really important because this is like the 1% of 1%. That would be like the commissioner of the NBA walking in here and being like, hey, Ben, I'm going to get you the best trainer. You're going to be in the NBA. I can put you in the NBA in 30 days. Are you insane? I'm 36. I'm 5'10". I'm not even close to in shape to be able to do that. And I'm 36 and 5'10". So they can say that, but again, like elite athletes, they're 1% of 1%. It's so slim. Now, it's not to be said that you can't get there, but know that it's not a get rich quick. It's not a get rich now. And when I say rich, a lot of us think money. I've said this before, and thankfully I've heard it from other people because I was beginning to think I was insane for saying it. If you chase money, if you chase it, if you're going from job to job because one's paying you more than the other, you don't necessarily like the job. You don't like the process there. You don't like the people. You don't like the company. There are things there that you don't believe in. They don't align with your values, whatever it is. It will end in disaster. And what's even worse is money is a good cloak to put over your life for a long period of time to avoid finding out who you are. And then before you know it, you're 40, 50. Some people never figure it out. And that's disastrous. It's okay to be broke. It's okay to be poor. It's okay to not have the monetary half. Those people oftentimes know themselves way better than anyone with fat cash. So, that kind of went off on a tangent, sorry. But don't invest in things that the people who you're investing in aren't the experts. That's really what that's saying. Okay, last one. Gold flees the man who would force it to impossible earnings, or who followeth the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers, or who trusts it to his own inexperience and romantic desires in its investment. I kind of just went over that. If it's too good to be true, it likely is. Now, here's the other part about this. I'm probably going to run over. Damn it. All right, I'm going to pick this up next time. Like, share, subscribe. I might do another video later on. I will see you later today, or if not tomorrow. Read.